My name is Chris Lehmann. I am the founding principal of the Science Leadership Academy, funky, wonderful little progressive high school in Philadelphia in partnership with the School District of Philadelphia and the Franklin Institute.
When I first heard about Trayvon, that's the first thing that I thought about was we have to teach and we are educators, and this is a young man who is budding probably right out of high school, and his life was just taken away so quickly. How do we address this topic with our students? If you could be somewhat of a guide for us, where would you lead us?
I mean, on some level, I guess the answer is I wish I knew. I think the first thing is to own our own feelings and to let the kids see that. I remember, there used to be that school of thought that you never let the kids know what you really felt about what was going on, and, you don't tell them what you vote, you don't tell them what you really think, and I just don't think that's true. I was outraged and sad and angry and despondent, you name it, and I let kids know that, and I owned that I worried about them. I owned that I saw Trayvon Martin in their eyes, in who they were, and I think that was the first thing. It's just, yes, this is every bit as this affects my life, and yes, this affects who I am, and yes, I worry about you all as you walk home. So I think that's, and I worry that, and I'm sad that this is the world we live in, and I'm frustrated that we are still in this place in 2012, and yet, and then we talk about it, and what the kids inevitably come around to or come ask is, what hope do I have? And I tell them very simply that they are my hope.
What's the raw emotion for them?
I don't think there's one. I think there's a lot. I think there's this funny moment that city kids have whenever tragedies happen not in cities, which is there's a piece of them that always seems to go, oh, well, that's a suburb thing. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what happens when you live in a gated community. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't happen in Philly. And their answer is in Philadelphia, I got to worry about. One of the kids was really interesting. He was like, Philly, I got to worry about getting shot on my block. You know what I mean? Like, and so on one level, there are some kids who live with violence every day in their neighborhoods. Philadelphia, has the unfortunate sort of sad, it's not a nickname, but moniker, I guess, of Philadelphia sometimes because of the number of murders here and the amount of crime. And so on one level, there's a whole subset of kids who are like, yes, violence is a part of our life as young African American kids. There's the other kids who believe that this doesn't happen, who want to believe this doesn't happen, who want to kind of live in that bubble and are sort of forced out of it, and they're really frustrated and they're really sad about it. And then there are the kids who, and again, SLA is this incredibly diverse place, as you know. So we have every, cross-section that you can imagine of race, socioeconomic, what have you. And so there's a range of emotion. I think the saddest ones, or the ones that are the most frustrating, are 15 and 16 and 17-year-old kids who react to this with resignation. Like, of course this happens. You know what I mean? Like, and those are the kids that I actually feel most frustrated or sad or sort of that I don't want to let them live in that space. Sure. I'd rather they be angry. I'd rather they feel like this is something that shouldn't happen as opposed to this is something that does happen. I don't ever want kids to be resigned to the fact that, of course, as a young African-American male, I run the risk of, getting shot. We joke around. The old term, we talk with the kids all the time about, like, as they're getting their licenses and stuff like that, about, be careful about DWB, driving while black. So,
I know my dad used to tell us when we were little, when you meet a cop, I don't care what the situation is, you are polite, you
Right.
speak with reverence and respect, and hopefully you won't get arrested. If he takes you and moves you and puts you onto the patrol car, you do whatever he says. That
Yeah.
was what we learned from very little. And my father, he's deceased now, but I keep thinking about the fact that he was so prophetic in so many ways when it came
Yeah.
to what the police were then and where they are now. And it's not even a police in this case, but I think it's more of a mindset. And you speak a lot about justice. You mentioned justice on your Facebook wall. Can you talk about that a little bit? Why is that so important? And then I want to get to your hoodie.
Sure. um, Thing one, I don't look good in a hoodie. No, but I mean, number one, as a white educator of a diverse population, which I have been my whole teaching career, I've always taught in really diverse schools, whether it was Beacon in New York City, which was a lot more diverse when I was there, or SLA now. I really relish teaching in diverse communities. And if you are not aware as a white educator in a diverse community that many of the children that you teach are subject to a different set of rules than you were, and then you're not fully conscious yet. And to me, that is unjust, and and obviously being shot by some would-be Bernie Getz vigilante, which is, as far as I'm concerned, is who, I mean, this guy, I don't want to dignify who this guy thought he was by saying this was some neighborhood watch. He wasn't a neighborhood watch. He was, I don't know what he was, but he wasn't that. This was no sanctioned anything. This was some guy out on some sort of crusade to eradicate the world of the people he didn't like. And so the first thing is the notion that as a young man you can't walk the streets in safety anywhere is unjust. I am struck by the injustice of it, that I have students who I worry every day when they go home from school in the neighborhoods they go home to. And I know that there are kids who don't stay after school as late as other kids because they're afraid of what happens when they get dark in their neighborhoods. That is unjust. It is unjust that Trayvon Martin couldn't walk through a gated community, an incredibly safe, what should have been a safe community, without being targeted, is unjust. And then I think that the reaction to this by the police, the reaction to what's been going on, has been profoundly unjust. And, I think that Trayvon's father is right. I think all of the people who have said, if this were a black adult who had shot a white teenager, there's no question he would be in jail. I mean, just none. Just none.
And his
And
family.
that is unjust.